I already mentioned. Okay, you asked. You think RSpec is the best way to do it. I already voiced the concern that view rendering, especially of conditionals, like leaves empty comments and stuff in there, so it might be a bit trickier.
It could be. So the way I would like to just use, ideally, could just use jest to capture, because we want to capture a snapshot of what does this part of the page look like when we had Haml. And then we want to capture a snapshot of what does it look like when Vue renders its stuff. And if we're dealing with JavaScript, we can just use jest to create snapshots and call it a day. If we're dealing with Haml, my first thoughts was technically we could use jest. Maybe we could use jest to like fetch, a request to our locally running GDK and then like find the elements from that response or whatever. And but the more I thought about it, I was like, I think it's going to be simpler to capture the right snapshot from Haml using Capybara. But yeah, I imagine there's going to be some differences. And so when we capture a snapshot, we can filter out some of those differences and we can look for regex patterns to just completely remove an either or to clean it up. So our goal is to set up what were you going to say?
Can we use Capybara to compare screenshots? Because we can ask Capybara to take screenshots, right? And we have it in GitLab UI to do like, it should look the same, right? With the same data, it should look exactly the same. So there should be 0 difference in pixel, correct?
Yeah. So that's another approach too, is we could look at this from the visual perspective and take visual screenshots, use Capybara to take screenshot differences. My goal was to look at it from the HTML and just, did we render all the right data attributes? Did I pass everything correctly through it? And I'm up for either one. I think if we take a visual screenshot, we could be making it more harder on ourselves because that takes into account like browser configurations and stuff when we want to compare two screenshots and things. So capturing that oracle consistently might be a challenge. But these are good. These are good questions. Let me share my screen, and I was going to write down some approaches to this. So let's do a little bit of planning, and then we can kick it off. Oh man, do you have is that like a huge donut?
Pretzel.
It's like a croissant, right? A pretzel.
It's a pretzel. That looks nice. Have you seen the Office episode of Pretzel Day? Okay, well, I'm just going to make that reference to myself. So here's some approaches to this. So the goal, there's a big refactor. Let's create a initial commit to pin down the board's behavior. Then in the next commit, let's do our refactor, and that's what we already have in that MR. And then let's create a commit to clean up. And the goal is if this has a passing pipeline, because it would include this, this pinning test, then I'm fine removing my pinning test because that's not something we want to leave around because it's not like they're really great tests. They test internals. They're really messy, but it gives us a lot of confidence that we didn't leave anything out in our refactor. Like to the point where I don't even need to manually test things. And so approaches to this, I was planning on using, we could use Capybara and RSpec to create, so we can use this to create snapshots of HTML. We also talked, you mentioned, hey, we could create actual visual snapshots.
Could we piggyback off the existing tests and essentially creating snapshots in all the because there exist like 20 files that do integration tests on those, could we just, you know, do the snapshots at the end of each of those tests and then basically pin it? Yeah, and one thing, by the way, is you can actually start off the MR because we've put the change behind the feature flag. So you can even do it in one run, theoretically. You could, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's a good point. So we could add pins. Yeah, so we don't even, I see what you're saying. Add pins to the pre-existing tests. Yeah, that's definitely something we could do. Another thought I had was, so one thing is you pin it, and that's just, we're just going to take, you know, we're taking HTML, writing it to a file. The other thing is asserting like that the snapshots are the same. Like if I take that again, like did it match and what's the difference? We could try to do all of that asserting in Capybara and in our RSpec itself, but because I don't feel super confident in RSpec and I don't know what the capabilities of Capybara are, I'm almost suggest let's just have Capybara just write to files and not do any assertion. But let's add a little bash script that does the diff of, we can move those files to like an Oracle or something, and we'll add a bash script that checks, did our new snapshots match our Oracle or whatever.
Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but RSpec runs tests sequentially, right? So we could like run since we have the feature flag, we could like turn off the feature flag, run all the tests and save all the stuff, and then turn on the feature flag and compare against what we saved in one run.
Oh yeah, no, and that's interesting too. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I hadn't put a lot of thought in what does it look like since we did feature flag this. I think that does change. That could change how we approach it. Yeah, let's get started with it. And please direct me if you guys see some opportunities for making this better. But right now the goal is, because we have to capture a YAML, I think using Capybara is going to be the easiest, in my opinion, especially because we have some pre-existing Capybara tests that are already setting things up. We're just going to capture HTML, just write it to a file. I'm going to say let's maybe not do any visual snapshots right now. And let's use a bash script to actually do the diffing and see what happens. All right, let's check out that, wrong place. Let's check out that MR. Go over here to front-end pairs. Man, this has been the subject of front-end pairs for a few days now.
Yeah, a few engineers on this channel.
It's worth it for all the reasons. Oh, I'm in GitLab UI. I'm going to close that up.
I did a forced push on that branch, so be careful to check out the right version.
Thanks for the heads up. Oh, I have stuff. I can reset that. Okay. Awesome. All right. So because this is behind a feature flag, it sounds like I can start, I don't have to do any reverting or whatever. I can just start capturing our Oracle right away, right?
Nope, because the feature flag is on by default. And that actually my idea, or Nico and my idea was, hey, if we turn on the feature flag by default and all the tests work, then we should have enough confidence if we have confidence in the tests.
I might have revealed something about my confidence in our tests.
To be honest, like I have a lot of confidence in those tests because there are a lot of tests there compared to our actual karma tests that we have for the component. So
that's a good point. Yeah,
more confidence actually.
Okay. Well, did we have? Are they feature specs or we have YAML tests?
It's feature.
Okay,
it's feature.
It should be good. Yeah, then we may at the end of this, it could be anticlimactic and there's no differences. Let's see what happens. Be interesting. It's an interesting exercise at the least.
There should be differences because I actually fixed one bug. Let's see if we can find it. Otherwise, I invite you to find that bug.
Okay. All right. Cool.
These are the feature specs. I posted them into the front-end pairing channel.
Oh, sweet. You had paths to them? Oh, brilliant. Okay. Yeah, let's jump into one. And yeah, great. Awesome. Here's boards. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, we could try to attach something onto here. I would want to just do something clean, like copy the setup and then just start playing around with our own one, because I
would also recommend going into the boards spec, because this boards maybe yeah, okay, I think this is more meaningful to us.
Okay, sounds good. So let's create one. Let's create one called the boards pen spec. I'm gonna mostly just copy this. Okay. We will copy this, the before. Here's some context that, okay, here we're visiting the board page. Or maybe we should be a maintainer or something. Maybe we should be copying this one. That makes sense.
Doesn't the board for open project isn't it visible for normal user as well?
I think so. Let's see what happens. We may have to tweak it a little bit. So let's see what happens. Here we are. We visited the board page. Great. So let's also open up that boards. Is it board or boards? That YAML file that we're actually, here it is.
Isn't it under show? Oh, okay.
Is this it?
Yeah, it's in.
Okay. Okay. So I was thinking, I don't know, I'm a front-end engineer. I don't know a lot of RSpec. I don't know a lot of Capybara. This makes me nervous. I'm not in my comfort zone right now. But I was excited to realize that there is a part of Capybara that's already writing to the file system. That's how little I know about Ruby and everything, is I don't really even know how to write to the file system. And the part of Capybara that's doing that is the Capybara screenshot gem that creates those HTML screenshots when something fails and stuff. I took a few minutes to just look at this, and it seemed really trivial. So I was gonna piggyback off of this and see how they're creating their screenshots. So they end up creating this thing called a saver, which maybe we could create ourselves. But I think I'm gonna, oh man, look at this cool GitHub feature. I know. Okay.
We technically have the same feature.
We do, and I am aware of that as well. Yeah.
Doesn't really work.
It does. I think you have to kind of squint at it a little bit. So it looks like there's another gem called this S3 saver. This is where we actually get our saver. Let's see what this is. If you guys are willing to go down this funny trail.
That sounds like Amazon related to me.
It does. I agree with that. See what's going on here.
Yep, look, require AWS SDK S3.
Okay, that's not what we're doing, is it? We're not doing.
Yeah, it sounds like saving something to an S3 bucket, maybe.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, no, it looks like that we only do that unless we have a S3 empty thing. Otherwise, we use the saver thing. Oh look, I'm going to jump to their definition. Sweet. Save current path. We can save the HTML. Capybara has a save page. Oh, wow.
But can't we ask this gem directly to save the HTML? So, because it actually, when we make an error, it takes a screenshot both of the picture and the HTML, right?
Yep. And I was going to and I think we could just use this to save HTML. I was wanting to maybe not do the whole page and just do the bit that we were changing. But what do you all think? Do you think we should just get a Capybara screenshot like we can, or do you think we should But
Let's try it. We could probably do something like within like a certain section of the code, like you know how RSpec or whatever, like within element do end.
Yeah, we want to try. We could do. It looks like we can natively just. Yeah, we might be able to. This sounds like this is an element that we can pass into it. I bet we can select some sort of element that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can select anything.
Okay, I'm going to try using this capybara thing. Is that just a global that's globally available? Where's capybara coming from? I don't.
It's module capybara. Oh.
That's the module name. What's this? Does anyone know what this attribute reader thing means?
It's just like a prop.
It is. Oh, look, this is it. It's something that we get in our constructor. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're totally right. Okay, I got to go back to our constructor. Who constructed this again? Where did we get that thing? Here, new saver. We pass in. We're spreading some args. Let's see. Where do we call new saver? Oh, it's just capybara. It's the module. I could have told you that. All right. Yeah, so it looks like we can just use the module. I don't know. I guess maybe they're doing this so that they can unit test it nicely. But it looks like we can just do capybara save page. Let's see what happens. It saves things. Maybe we should do like some sort of wait for requests. I don't know. It saves things. Capybara dot. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone know how to get the path to this specific Ruby file?
I think so.
Or maybe I could look up RSpec. Maybe it's different in RSpec. Get path.
Are you looking for like the Rails routes?
I have no idea.
Oh, are you looking for like the browser path, or are you looking for like legit file path?
I'm looking for this legit path. This boards all the way to board pin spec, route to file path spec.
Current underscore path is for the
route,
the browser path, but I'm not sure about file path.
There's no better way than building something that uses the file to grab the path to a known bit of content. Looks like there's a file thing. Let's see what this thing does. I know, it shouldn't just be copying code from the internet, but yeah. Call it pins. Yeah, okay, whatever. See what happens. All right, something tells me I don't have any of this running. Oh, no. Okay, let me, so I go through a little song and dance every time I check out a new branch. I have a script that I shouldn't just keep to myself, which removes our cache folder and installs yarn stuff and then runs bundle. And then I run GDK start. And the GDK, only part of the GDK, I guess, has to be working for the capybara test to start up, but I'm not sure what parts that is, so I just kind of globally started.
Do you need the GDK running for the RSpec test? For the feature test, yes, right? Yeah.
For the feature test, yeah, because it does something with Postgres. I'm revealing a lot about my knowledge here, so please help me out if you have more context into it.
I am in the same boat with RSpec.
Okay. All right. Yeah, some backenders are going to watch this and be like, oh my God, people should not be allowed to touch. I'm just joking. We're going to execute. Have you guys heard of, so talking about how I don't know a lot about Rails. Have you heard of Spring?
Yes.
All right. If you just feel like jumping out a window because your tests are way too slow, your feature tests when you're running Capybara stuff, try adding Spring to your instruction. And you'll soon be jumping around with joy at the 5 seconds it shaves off.
Was that what Epi was talking about, Nico, at the beginning of the call?
Yes.
Oh, I misunderstood.
But you also need to use Spring restart or stop if stuff are not working properly, because sometimes Spring just...
So is it called, you just run Spring restart?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what's an example of an issue that'll come up?
I mean, you're writing your test and you're kind of confident that they should work, and this doesn't work for some reason. It's because Spring has like put the piece of the puzzle together wrong.
Yeah, because it caches. Because I guess it caches everything to some server or some process. And yeah, it's possible. I guess I can make a file change that it didn't pick up in that cache or whatever. I imagine that backenders that are changing more and more Ruby files is more relevant than maybe when the only
YAML
files we're
files
expecting are
count.
probably these test ones. What'd you say?
The YAML files do count, though.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But if you're working only on the test, that's better. That's not a problem.
Yeah, on the topic of me not completely knowing what I'm doing, whenever things like tests aren't working and I feel really confident that I should, I just turn off my computer and turn it back on. I'm like, let's try all of this. Let's try the whole day over again.
Next step is go to sleep and wake up again.
Yeah, whatever it is, I'm not going to admit that I wrote my code wrong. The test is obviously wrong.
We could have used Cypress here.
Cypress. I can't wait for the day that our front-end feature specs are not doing as much as it's doing right now.
I can't wait until the day we have no more Haml.
Is that thing coming? Is it? Oh,
And because you just removed it
I know.
from the end.
This is true. I'm thinking that this is coming from the helper. Is it? No, it's not.
No, it's usually defined at the end, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And it did the wait for request too. Oops. That looks pretty.
And you can remove wait for requests.
Thank you. You're right. Okay. Now you'll see the power of Spring, Peyton. Hang in there. Instead of taking like a minute, it's going to take like 10 seconds.
Maybe.
I know. I talk things up too much sometimes.
So where was Spring implemented here? I thought it was like legit. You had to put the keyword in there.
Oh, I just you add it. It's like a wrapper for your Ruby command. So it's, I guess, kind of like nodemon.
Gotcha.
Wrong number of arguments given to, expected 0 to 1. Oh, we must be using like an old or a different Capybara version to do this save path thing. Because I saw that they did this version match. Is this only version 1 can do this? Well, I guess we got to save the whole page. That's weird. That's fine. Let's just try saving the whole page. And while it's running, maybe I can do some research on what that is. Capybara save page, page 2. Save a snapshot of the page. If asset host is set, the one inject base tag. That doesn't make sense. Okay, I guess it has to save the whole page. That's cool, I guess. I mean, the rest of the page shouldn't change. So, oh, cool. It did something. Did anything change? Did we actually save it? Where did it go? Oh, it's in here. This thing features pens. Look at this. This is our snapshot. Great. Okay.
Can we put this to a utility file and slam it to every feature spec in this folder?
Can you describe what you're talking about?
So we already have a lot of specs, right? Running just like every list in 25 or something like that. So if we make this a utility file and just slam it in all the specs, will it help us? We will capture a screenshot for every configuration in the current feature spec.
So I was thinking about this on the side while I was talking after the 10 minutes that you brought it up. And I would rather for us, because we have existing tests, if we just go off of our existing tests, we have very little chance to capture something that our existing tests might be missing. So what I'd rather do is just look at our source, and we're going to see some of the Rails conditions here that we need to check. And there should be less than that than peppering it throughout our other existing tests. Do you feel like that's all right, or?
Yeah, yes, sure. There is a chance we will capture probably something different, but there is going to be an overlap as well, right? Compared to what the feature tests are testing, because we don't know all of them like intimate.
Right, and some of them are testing, because we only changed like this block, and some of them are going to be testing things that really we have a high confidence are going to remain the same. So we want to make sure that things like this are caught, and we don't have a lot of confidence that condition is actually tested yet or not. So that's my concern. So I think I don't want to spread this to everything, but I do want to borrow a lot from the other tests as much as we can. Okay. But here we have a, and I don't know why it put it to, it's because I did go up a directory. If you're cool with it living in that directory, I guess we could just put it here. But I don't think I want to wait another 3.3 seconds, so we'll leave it in pens for now. But I'm going to rename this now to I guess we can just call this. Let's go and do it. Let's start naming it. Let's call this one the default one, and we're going to give the pen. But then I'm going to manually add one to Oracle. I'm going to add a prefix called Oracle, and we're going to save it out. And then we're going to recreate. Then we're going to turn on the feature flag and recreate and see what happens. So let's call bundle exec spring rspec again. While this is running, I will gracefully delete this pen.
Do you want rspec to compare those files, or you prefer to do that outside of it?
I don't know how to do an rspec, so I was going to use bash for it.
Can't we just import them after they are written and just like at the point that they are a string, right?
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a diff function, because I can just use diff locally and get really pretty output.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm up for that. It's doing it in here, but what does everyone else think? Okay. This is not helping my confidence. Yeah, we could try it here. I was wanting to get like an actual like a unified diff output so we can easily read it. And I don't know how to do that in rspec. I do know how to do it in bash. We could like call bash from here. We could look up and see, hey, do we want to see if we can get a unified diff in rspec? And that might be cool. Do you want to do a little bit of research to see if we can get that diff output in rspec, or?
Maybe we can start with bash. Iterative approach here as well, right?
Yeah.
So we are confident with bash.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to rename this to .oracle, maybe. I don't know. Does that sound cool? And then we want to turn on the feature flag, right?
Off.
Turn it. Oh, it's on.
It is already.
It's on by
Okay, so then this is the pen. We're gonna have to switch them. But anyways, so how do I do that again? Do you stub?
Stop feature flag, I think.
Yeah, stub feature flag, and then the name of the feature flag, and then put it to false.
Yeah. Okay, and we have the name of the feature flag is. I should have had this open over here.
It's in board in the index.js, I think.
SFC issue boards.
But it's probably written with the underscore.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, it's the other way. Okay. Is it true? Like this? Oh wait, it is true. Do you want to run over?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and if you guys have if it jumps out to you, maybe we could do this in just one go, the feature flag on and off. That'd be interesting too. With pinning tests, since we plan on removing all this, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Oh wait, is this a license feature? Looks like it might be under EE.
There is both. There is a CE part and an EE part.
Okay, because we may need stub license features as well. We'll see.
We have 2 files now. Let's see if they're any different. Here we go. So the oracle's on the left and the pen is on the right, and there is a beautiful output. And let's see how readable this is. Let's try this again.
Oh boy.
It's gonna be okay. I think
what you can do, Paul, there is if you do diff-u --color.
Okay, that's helpful. Nope.
Oh, is this because you're on Mac and it's not a GNU version? Oh, never mind. Yeah, continue.
Good luck. I can't use vimdiff, and it's gonna be prettier. All right, so
Okay, so the random ports are different.
that makes sense. Here's some comment differences. And I guess, yeah, it'd be interesting to run these through prettier. Do you think that would be worth it, or?
So both of the HTML through prettier, so they are both the same format.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Will prettier actually make them pretty? Well, maybe they need to end in HTML for prettier to read them and understand them correctly.
I don't know.
Let's just try it.
All right, let's just try it. All right, I love that. Okay. Is prettier an actual script, or am I going to be running the bin right now? Okay, looks like I can run it like this. Side note, I'm going to rant on something. If anyone ever wants to create an MR that removes this dot from the end of ESLint, I would love that. But that's why I can't just run yarn run ESLint for a specific file, because this is wrapped, this has blocked that whole bin as now we run this whole script. I was looking to see, do we have a prettier script so I can't run this on a specific file or something.
It's just a dot that's messing it up.
It's a dot that's messing it up because this runs it for the entire directory. So it's really slow.
Come on, I'll probably do that MR.
That would be amazing. But you have to be careful though, because it's like this is going to be referenced by CI and other things. And so, yeah, that'd be amazing.
You need to move the dots to the CI basically, right?
Yep.
Or everywhere is referenced now.
Yep. Yeah, fun stuff. Yarn run prettier for this specific file. Let's see what happens. No parse. Yeah. Okay. All right. And that's cool. We're just going to rename this to .oracle.html. But these actually, I think, need to be different because we had, this is with the feature flag on, and the pen, we did the, oh wait, yeah.
The pin is the original one.
The Oracle is the one with the feature flag on because that's the first one we did, right? So this one really needs to be pen, and this one needs to be the Oracle because this is with the thing off. Okay, great. Let's see what happens. Oh, these are good. Oh, yeah, you're right. I was skipping a step. Oh, it did something. Oh gosh, it didn't write it. Oh, okay.
You need to pipe it, yeah.
Do you pipe it, or is there's a command, I think, for actually writing it to the file?
Oh, that I don't know.
-W.
What'd you say?
-W.
-W? Okay, brilliant.
Or if you have it in your VS Code, you can just run it in the file itself.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, in like with the quick command, right? Format.
Help me
Command
out.
Shift P. Format.
This thing?
Here.
Oh gosh.
No.
I'd like to capture the way to do this on a CLI so that maybe we can do it.
Double dash right rather than -W. I don't think it takes the short form.
Awesome. Is this yarn not taking the dash, or is this actually prettier?
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
pass
prettier.
anything. Yeah.
Oh, the yarn will pass anything?
Mhm.
I did it. It looks like it did it. Brilliant. Awesome. Okay. Okay. Oh, no, it's taking a while for it to do that one. Great. So now we can bend it. Does anyone know how to diff files in VS Code? I'm used to using Vim.
Right click on the sidebar on the file.
This is one thing?
No. In the left sidebar, click on one file. Select for compare. 6.
What? What am I doing here? Select for compare to?
No, the one above it.
What do I do?
Click again.
Compare was selected. Whoa, that's great. Okay, great. So here's the meat of it. Look at this. Look at this. That's awesome. Okay, cool. We got some SVG differences, which is expected. There's one interesting thing here where this div has a can admin list before, and here it doesn't. What do you think that's all about?
Who's on the right, the new or the old?
It says Oracle. The Oracle has the can admin list, and the default pen does not.
Should we look at the ammo file and see?
Yeah, let's do that. That's a great idea. Can. Maybe I should look up admin. Oh, can admin list. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I need to search everything. Can admin. Can admin list.
It became a prop on and SFC. That's why it's missing.
But this should have become a prop too, because we're doing a full mount and everything before. Were we passing this incorrectly maybe, or are we not capturing this like we should be? What's can admin list?
I mean, if View is probably removing it from the dataset now, right? Because it's a prop for the component. Can it be?
But Vue should have been doing that when because this is still a Vue. So if you're not familiar with the history of this.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, you're right. Before it was Vue, but if now we define it as a prop, it will be taken away.
Did we just define this? Oh, we did. Why was this not a?
Because this is one of the things that we did to remove the render if, right? Because to remove the render if, we had to bring some logic inside the single file component.
So what I'm not capturing is how come this worked previously? What was the goal?
So before there was a render if that would not like print the HTML at all, right? The markup at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now we don't have render if because it's an SFC, so stuff had to become a prop.
Right. Got it.
And since this modified the original file to add a prop, right? When you run it with the feature flag off, you still get an empty data attribute because the component doesn't have the prop. The view is not scrapping it off.
Okay, and we probably updated board data. Does board data have can add?
Yeah, there you go, line 6.
I see. What's I'm still a little confused on what's happening here, because I thought this still looks like we're doing Vue in a HAML.
Because this is the old one. Since there is a feature flag, you need both, right? So you still have the old template.
We still have the old template. This is the old template. Where do we actually mount this thing? Where do we actually mount?
Index. Here.
Oh, in here. Okay.
Okay, I think I see Nico. So what you're saying is the HAML's still behind a feature flag, and the new feature flag has Vue. Is that right?
So you still need both. Just with the new feature flag with SFC, you just get the entry point and tuck away the data set so you can use it in your prop. While the old one is actually loading the full markup with this template.
Gotcha.
So if now you empty the markup of that show.html.ml, the new one will still work and the old one will not have markup. This is probably maybe why we should have actually rolled back the commit the past.
That makes sense.
It's small changes.
So
really.
our Oracle is off. I see what you're saying. It's our Oracle isn't actually testing master.
It just by a little bit. It's just literally those two props and the definition on top.
I see what you're saying. Yep. Okay. For fun, then I am going to roll it back, and we're going to create that pinning test before we've made these changes, just so we can see what happens. Unless everyone's like, hey, this difference doesn't mean anything. You need to chill out.
I mean, at least we know that this difference is something that
we were kind of
there.
Right, and we were kind of expecting this, and that makes sense. Yeah, so that's cool. I lost my comparison thing. Oh well. Cool, and that was the only difference, right?
I don't know if we stopped on.
Okay. So all of these are trivial, and it'd be nice if somehow we could trim this, but I won't worry about that. These are, yeah, and I'm assuming we don't need to worry about these?
No.
Other than icon classes changed, does I see issues of concern?
I think it has been changed to GL icon in the new component, so it's just using the same component.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right.
Same type of icon. Sorry.
Got it. Cool. Where does it select the? Oh yeah, there's where it's getting the weight.
So at the end of the use, there is weight, and the icon was IC weight, so it's the same.
Yep, got it. And so this is different. What we've established is because we didn't run this Oracle before we introduce some changes. I see.
Correct.
Which does mean that there's a change when this feature flag is off to what master is doing, which is adding this attribute there, but which is harmless. That's something that you could tell me, like, oh, chill.
Yeah,
And it's more icon stuff.
it's
Cool.
probably not harmless, but can we just spend half a second and think if that's a security issue, like if we are leaking info that we shouldn't?
What'd you say?
I mean, it's just that there's a permission, right? Can admin list. It can't be a security issue, right? We are not leaking any info in the template.
No. No. Yeah, that's not. I don't think it's a security issue because it's the user's receiving this information, and they should know. Even in the view world, it's in the it's in some JavaScript property somewhere. This is the only thing I'm concerned about is that this isn't a valid attribute, and that's. I don't think that's a huge deal, especially that we have high confidence this is going to work. We're probably not going to turn the feature flag off unless we want to spend some time resolving this difference. But it does bring up something interesting of when we're doing this pen, since we did introduce a feature flag, pens, it was confusing that we did run it not on master. And now that there's a feature flag, technically, if we were being really cautious, we'd want to run it with both feature flag on and off to make sure that we didn't mess up the off version at all, which is something I was not anticipating, but interesting discussion nonetheless. I was going to create some more pens. Do you guys have any other thoughts?
Yeah, we definitely need to fire on some cases, right?
Yeah. So let's figure that out. Going over to our main thing here, we want to look for all of the HAML stuff that's happening.
Render if exists especially, right?
Well, if this is just a trivial, like we're just throwing, if this is doing a condition, that's what I'm really concerned about. If we're doing condition, if we're ejecting different values, this I'm not concerned about because we're just throwing in a tag and we've already know that we're doing this tag correctly, I guess. I'm really concerned about seeing different conditions. And we could borrow those conditions from other specs for sure, and I think that's probably a wise idea. But this one I'm concerned about of if I can admin the list and versus if I can't, like, are we doing that correctly? So here in our pen, I am a developer. Does that mean I should be probably not being able to admin the list, right?
Yeah, correct.
So I would expect to not see in my Oracle, I probably shouldn't see board delete.
We should see can admin list to false also on the original, on the Oracle, right?
And something tells me it was true.
Yeah, I think it was true.
It was true. I don't want to think about this.
But in the context of this pin, in the spec, didn't we run the user as a maintainer?
I started to, but then I think became a developer.
Oh, sorry.
Can we look at that board, that Boolean condition on the board of HTML? It's on top. Can admin list. It's on top of this. Yeah, you're in the correct file.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, sorry.
Or not. Uh-oh.
Oh, no, it is in a different file. It's in the show, I think. Yeah. It's over here. Here we go.
So,
can admin list. Oh, yeah. I think we meant to do something like, okay, this is always going to be true.
yeah.
And I'd like to prove that something's wrong with the pinning test, but let's not worry about that. But I think we want to do this, right?
Yeah, this is discussion that we had yesterday as well.
Okay.
On Boolean, yeah.
Does it make sense why this was true when it should have been false? because I think over when we do can admin list, or wait. Oh, wait. What's going on here? Yeah, what are we? How are we want to do this? Oh, this is a big challenge. I see the challenge here. The plot thickens because, oh my gosh, we're not mounting to here. We're mounting to here, but we are trying to replace board component. So what uses this thing again? This is our main target. What's using this again? Render components board. All right, show does this. Oh, it's coming from this template thing. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's the right. You were touching the right AML file. X template.
Okay. I think we're going to run into a weird issue with this property. So I'm reverse engineering what was going on here. But the reason, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Nico, but the reason why we needed to inject this as a property is kind of riddled throughout this component are things like, can we admin this list? So we now need to move these conditions over to view. To make things more complex, it's not like we can just throw a data attribute onto our mounting element. This mounting element takes a whole nother view template as its child. And so what we're trying to do with can admin list here is we're trying to pass a
JavaScript function.
JavaScript. Right? We want this to be evaluated by JavaScript, but I think it's coming across as a string. And I think it's going to be anything stringy. So we can actually, I think we can prove that there's something problematic by if we added a test for the maintainer, and we can meet.
Does this mean that all those feature tests that we have are not covered in this case? Or is just
we could dive into that, but I would be not surprised if that was the case. What were we gonna say?
Sorry, no, go on.
No, if I seem paranoid with you look at all this, you're like, man, why is Paul doing so much? Why is he being a little anal retentive about this? It's because I don't have a lot of confidence for some of our testing stuff. at either level, and we could try to grok of whether something is being captured correctly or not, but sometimes we just grok for does something exist, and we haven't done the other case of if it doesn't exist. And so whenever I do these refactorings, it's nice. That's one layer of net is our existing test cases, and it's a good net, but I don't trust it I don't completely trust it. And I'd want to do this pending test as an exercise if this is another net. And as you see, some things are kind of popping up. And now we're asking some interesting questions of, is this even getting passed down correctly? I'm not entirely sure. So let's just for fun do the same. Rather than trying to grok all of it, we can use this to help us. And I think rather than doing a before do here, let me... we'll just call this default. And then let me do one with as maintainer. And the maintainer should be able to admin the list, right? We would expect these should be different, right? Okay, let's check it out.
So to be honest, my expectation is that that admin list is a prop. It goes through as a prop, but the rendered HTML is correct. It's just a gimmick.
You think it's going to be there hanging out?
Yeah, because then the SFC parse it correctly. So when it goes through the proper component, it parse it correctly. But that's maybe I'm too hopeful.
No, and I hope no, and that could be the case. I think
But
rather
let's
than
run
trying-
it. We will see.
Yeah, let's try
Yeah.
it and we'll see. I know we're running to the end of this. But let's check out what happens. So I'm going to run it with the feature. Yeah, so we'll run it with the feature flag off. We'll capture the oracles. We'll run prettier on them. I'm going to delete while it's trying to write to it. Okay.
Race condition.
I know.
Knock knock.
Yeah, and if I was smart too, I'd be able to have a context for if this is true and we have it right to the right thing. Oh, and these are going to be renamed wrong. Oh, let me see if I can change it before it does. Oh, but Spring probably is already. Oh, Reddit. All right. This comes from me. Okay, I know. All right. So yeah, let me rename these.
But the feature flag is off now, right? So those are Oracle.
These are oracles. You're right. Thank you. Okay, and then let's run it with the feature flag on. And while that's running, let me pretty these up. Okay, and my computer's kind of spinning now. It's doing something over here.
Airspec. Taking to the moon.
Sweet. All right, and I gotta pretty up those things. I guess I probably could pretty up the whole directory. Do you think that'll work?
I hope so.
Okay, let's see. You think I could do something? Do you think I could do a?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Cool.
But bash helps you.
Bash does the blob spreading, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
I guess so.
We'll see. So I want to first compare that the maintainer and the default oracles should be different, right? They seem.
Yeah, there is.
Oh
different stuff
gosh!
on
Well,
the
they're gonna be
list.
different because of the different project stuff. All right, I'm a little frustrated at myself for not doing that. But these would also have that can admin thing, right? Okay. And I should expect one of them to be able to delete something, right?
There.
I would expect to have like a board delete. I don't see it other than in the CSS between these two. Or over here, do I have one? No, yeah. Let's compare the maintainer oracles and pens.
Oh, usual.
It's the same stuff, isn't it?
Mm.
So I wonder why this can delete things not showing up. Do you think this is we need to just test it out manually and see what makes it show up?
But a maintainer can admin, right? There is no other role there.
I don't know. Let's do a search for that board delete. Here we go. Here's somewhere we're looking for. How did they set it up? It's a maintainer.
Add maintainer. Mm.
Oh, Is it in a modal thing? No, it's not. Is it? Let's see. Or delete. Is this a modal?
Yeah, it is. I think it is. If you check for the component inside this GL model, I think.
Oh, well, that's probably why it's not showing up. Sorry about that.
Right?
I don't even know what's going on anymore.
What? No.
Oh, this is just a. This is a component.
Well, it is a component, but what is a template?
You're asking some good questions. I don't know. Let's try running this manually and see what happens. Thankfully, I have the GDK already running. I'm gonna have to restart the GDK.
So there is also this condition with the list type. Not all the lists can be deleted. Just
Oh yeah, and our list doesn't. I don't think we even have any lists in this example that we have. So maybe that's what's going on too. Oh no, but we should have. Oh yeah, that's it. So let's see. Over here in board delete, and that's a good point. Yeah, we haven't even created some lists and issues. Let's create some lists and issues. I think that's probably what's going on.
yeah, there is no list.
Good catch. Oh, and there's some labels that they're adding here too.
Since you are at it, why don't you duplicate the default and that as a maintainer and just feature flag on and off, so one and spec run generate all the template that we need?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you think, should we do this shared example thing, or should I just?
I just don't know how to write it, so I don't know.
I think you could do some. Let me look at an example for a shared example. Yeah. So you can do like shared examples, run pins, and then we can even pass in like a thing to it. And here's the type, and we're going to type. Does this look right?
Okay.
Here's the type of it. So we have the default. Yep. And I'm going to do something too where I am, we're going to let it be the project, meaning that
it's always the same,
yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We could probably do some of these with the other things as well, but I won't worry about that. Okay. And then we could do context and how do you include examples, or what's it called? License. It behaves like.
It's like.
Yeah. It behaves like run pens. Something tells me I'm abusing something here, but it's gonna have to just do it. So the pen is that one. And the oracle, this one. Cool. Yeah, that should do both. Cool. And then, all right, let's see what happens. Did I change anything? I didn't change anything. Oh, I was going to manually test something. All right. Okay. This one will probably have some board stuff. Here we go. This is the delete button that we were expecting, right? Yep, board delete. Yep. Yeah, and you're right. It's just not showing up because we didn't have any lists. Our tests were not good enough. Good call, Nico. Sorry about that. Which means that we might not have even been loading that. Yeah, it's a good thing that we did this. Now we probably gonna have much more interesting pens when we run this. So let's run it again and see what these are like, and then we can call it and see that.
It was in the other terminal, probably.
What do you say?
Your history, it was in the other terminal.
Oh, you're right. All right, I'm gonna run.
Oh, but that's okay. Oh, everybody left. It's just us three.
Yeah, I saw that.
To be fair, and I apologize, I'm not really here. I'm just, it's nice to have some coding going on in the background. You know?
Nice.
You're using me and Paul as a discovery channel.
I don't know what you use the Discovery Channel for, but it's not that for me. But,
Okay.
it's been really interesting so far when I have been paying attention.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, no, I know it went a little over, and these things usually do, but we're at the bitter end, and we'll kind of retro this a little bit, maybe for 5 minutes, if you have some time, Nico. But let's see what these.
Yeah, I do. This is actually a very interesting activity for me.
Cool. Yeah. Pin star.html. Oh, I gotta do right. I gotta right. Yes. But you can see this bash script is pretty trivial. If we're just gonna run this specific RSpec, then we're gonna run prettier, and then we're just gonna run diff. And if we were like with any kind of snapshot test, it's good to get rid of noise. So we could do like some sort of regex replacing if we wanted to, and actually have a pipeline green here. But since this is something temporary, we don't have to overthink it.
Over engineering, yeah.
Yeah, and just eyeballing it is good enough too. So,
but you know, a good action point from this will be that we come up with something like to facilitate the spinning test, like guidelines or do this and do that. This works, this doesn't work.
I think even if we just had some helpers for something like this, to where that would be
yeah.
Maybe. I mean, so I used a pinning test for a view component that was relying heavily on a store, and it received a mutated object, and I was changing the API contract basically. And the set of helpers you need for that is very different to the set of helpers you need for this.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is quite context specific.
Yeah. Do you think that
I mean, it's not a bad idea, of course. It's just, you know,
maybe if there is anything that, you know, someone feels passionate about, you know, oh, I've written some code, I want to put it somewhere. Consider putting it in the playground, in a playground project. And maybe as part of our pin, it's something we can just include. And maybe it's even just some like bash scripts or node scripts, or just something that we can include in a commit and then remove it later or something.
Is this, I missed the beginning of this, and maybe you mentioned this during the call as well, but you said that this will be temporary. What about making this part of the history, as in where you add the pin test
Yes, and I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I really like that. So when I say temporary, I mean
Not to master, right?
not master, not in the head of master. Like it's not going to be. It's not. It doesn't block pipelines. But yes, let's put it in the history for sure. I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
Because at least then it's somewhere, and then you can point to that commit rather than saying here's some helpers. You can say here's a commit where I did that. You can repurpose that if necessary.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I'm overlooking. There's some like, man, I wish. I guess
more let it be.
I need to let it be
Right.
for all these things, but that's something I can nitpick later. But this looks good. I'm looking at the as maintainer one, and then let me look at this one.
Did we find the delete pin now? Just by scrolling, I couldn't.
Yeah,
see.
there was I think some more thing. Oh, the delete one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we would expect not to see it, right? The board.
Or delete.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
it is here. Are we an admin? No, this is not an admin. What is going
but
on?
it's in both. It's in both versions, right?
All right, we're gonna have to check this out. Can I see this as if I'm signed out? You know, if I can see.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, wait, let me sign out.
I wonder what it will take to run pinning tests on each and every page of GitLab. I have a small dream in my drawer that is to try everything that is in main.js, all that JavaScript that runs on every page, and just a jQuery that attach itself left and right and this kind of stuff.
Nice. Yeah.
I just am so afraid to touch it because there is no tests for that, right?
And so this strategy of pinning tests is when there is no tests, like we're not gonna write good tests. We're just gonna totally pin it down, and it's helpful for some of those areas of our code base that are like that. This one, thankfully, isn't really a lot like that, but I don't know. All right, I think I'm gonna, as an admin, I'm gonna pretend to be a user that is a guest, and then maybe as one as a developer.
We do have the feature. I mean, Gustavo's definitely.
Yeah, Gustavo should not be able to delete things from a board. So let's pretend to be Gustavo. Do I have to actually click on him? I think I actually have to click on him. And then impersonate. All right.
But why you are now impersonate Doreen, by the way?
The name, I know that bothers me a little bit too. All right, so Gustavo cannot see these.
But can you check in the markup if it's there and just disabled?
Oh, that's a good question. Board delete. I don't see it at all.
Okay.
I wonder if developers can see it. And I think that's probably what's going on. Caprice Lemke.
Doreen is the handle. Okay, now I got it.
Let me go to. There we go. Impersonating Jinko Cub.
You should have Vim style shortcut to the whole GitLab.
There is. So there is like a Vim mode, and I don't know how to activate it or really how to use it. There are like you can activate Vim mode and do like lots of different stuff. Who uses it all the time? I think Dennis Tang uses it a lot, but I don't know how to use it. So it looks like developers can see this. So
it's legit.
So it is legit, unless that's not how it is on master. But I don't think we changed anything. Like, well, All right, let me just for fun, let me see what it's like on this. Well, I guess I'm a maintainer here. Can you see if on our GitLab, on our boards, can you delete lists on our boards, Nico?
Let me check. Yeah. I'm the only non-maintainer here. Boards.
That's probably a rarity, right? Being a minority.
The only non. Yeah, no, I can't.
You can't?
No, I mean, wait a sec. Maybe this is the group. GitLab or GitLab. Can we verify that we are checking the same?
I think we are, but I don't know if I can share this screen if there's.
Yeah.
I'll just cut it out if there is anything. I'll cut this part out, or I could stop sharing my screen. That's good.
But I do see different stuff than compared to you.
Do you see the delete list button?
But I see open and closed list. Maybe I'm. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. I would really like. I would feel better about our Oracle if we actually ran it on the head of our merge base before we did things.
Yeah, it would be pretty bad if this refactor introduced the delete button for people that they can't delete, right?
Yeah, because we already touched some things around it. So I think that needs to happen. But we are at time. So I'm gonna do that asynchronously, and I'll push up. I'm gonna force push.
Okay. No. I do see the delete button. Wait. I do see. Yeah. But it's weird. I had to go to the group, not to the project, to see the delete button.
That is weird because I see it on the project.
No. Now the URL is the same. You see, you don't have groups at the beginning. That's weird. Yeah, then this is actually the board that I usually work from normally.
Oh, wait. We can all look at this board, and it might be that.
Yeah, that's exactly the same. I can't delete here. No.
You can't.
So I see open and closed, and you have linter request, but because you are filtering for it, right? Can you remove everything from your search? I do have edit board though. That's weird.
I kind of don't want to remove everything. I'll stop sharing my screen again.
Okay.
If I remove everything from my search, I'm in this special board. But let me go to I'm gonna go click on Dennis's name and see what he has.
So this is, wait a second. We do have URL that we can share. So this is the board that I'm talking about. I put it here in the chat in Zoom call.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, you need to have a list, right?
I do have 3 lists inside.
Oh, I don't see those lists. All right. All of this, I think I'd feel better. We wouldn't have to poke around at so when legacy code gets really legacy and not like GitLab's code here is legacy, but we're definitely unfamiliar with it. And now we're trying to capture what are the requirements and stuff. If we ran our Oracle on master, we would know for sure. And so I think that's the change I'm going to make so that, hey, we know for certain. And if there's no diff changes, then I think we can move forward with some confidence. As Mark's saying, let's leave this in the commit history. But the way I'm going to organize the commits, and I'll share my screen for this last bit. So I am going to do a force push with this. But the way I'm going to organize the commits is so here's what we have currently, however many commits we have. I'm going to insert before it, set up depends as oracles. Then we do this currently thing. And then we're going to run it both with the feature flag on and off. This is going to give us different contexts. And so then run with FF on and off. And so this is the branch. This is the commit. We could do some manual checking because we could spend time actually seeing if we get a green pipeline, but let's not worry about that. Let's just do manual checking of the diffs between these two snapshots. But this is the commit that we'd want to check out, and we'd have the pens and the oracles, and then we're going to do a cleanup. So these are the new commits that we're going to add here.
So that third one in the list, just so I get this, understand, your plan is to have that such that someone can check out that commit locally, and then run the test, run the pin test, and then flip the feature flag and run it again and check that it actually passed.
Yeah, they actually won't even need to run it at all. My goal is to, I was going to run it. I guess they could run it. I was going to run it and then just commit these files as well, so they can also just manually check it. But it makes sense. Yeah, they could run it. But we already have where if the feature flag is on and off. So rather than Oracle and pin, this will just be FF off, FF on.
Oh, and it will write out the pins. These pins are in version control.
Yeah, and I was thinking let's put them in version control.
Agreed. I think that's the right idea. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Since we're going to clean it all up anyways. So, yeah, that's the goal. So, hey, this was a lot of fun. And this actually was a lot better than I thought it'd go. So I was nervous about spending an hour writing files in Ruby. So I'm glad that this went better than that. But yeah, do you have any thoughts or comments, or are we ready to close it out?
No, for me it was good. Definitely good.
Might be. What do you think of just selling the idea of pins in the next front end meeting as a refactor something legacy?
Yeah.
Think about it.
I'd love to include your example, and maybe we can add something really quick to the front end guide, or one of our this does cross front end, but maybe we should add something to our developer guide of, hey, try doing pinning tests. Here's some examples. And we can include a link to this video and a link to you had an example and I have one from the past. And that might be really cool. Would anyone from the audience be up for like just spinning up that quick MR, and then you can ping it to me and we can merge something?
Sorry, an MR against?
Adding to the guide, maybe something about pinning tests, and then we'll announce that in the front end call.
I can do that.
Yes, Nico, thank you for doing that. Make it as messy as you want. Just if you find a good place for it, that's the hardest part. All right. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and thanks for hopping onto this, and thanks for being interested in this
Thank you for driving it.
Thing. Yeah. Hey, you guys take care. See you later.
See you.
Cheers. Bye.